What is true strength? We are taught that to be strong means to be stone, to never crack, to never cry. We hide our grief, our fear, and our sadness behind a wall of silence. But have you ever noticed? A stone does not grow, it only cracks. What if real strength is not in holding the dam shut, but in having the courage to open the gates? This was the heavy armor worn by Commander Kaelan. He was a legend on the battlefield, a man forged in fire and discipline. His men saw him as a fortress, unbreachable and steadfast. Just days ago, a brutal skirmish had claimed his closest friend, his brother in arms, a man he had known since they were boys. Now, as his soldiers gathered, their faces streaked with tears, their shoulders shaking with silent sobs, Kaelan stood like a statue carved from granite. His face was a blank mask, his eyes were dry. But inside, a war was raging that was fiercer than any he had faced. A silent scream was clawing at his throat. The pressure in his chest was building like a volcano, hot and immense. He thought he was protecting his men by being their unbreakable shield. He thought his stoicism was a gift to them, a sign that they would endure. He was wrong. He was slowly turning into a ghost. Sleep offered no escape, only fractured nightmares. His hands, the same hands that could wield a sword with unshakable precision, now trembled when he believed no one was looking. The numbness he wore as armor was beginning to consume him, disconnecting him from his men, from himself, from the very world he fought to protect. He was becoming hollow. The silence in his own head became a deafening roar. Unable to bear it any longer, Kaelan walked out of the barracks under the cold light of a full moon. He found himself drawn to the river that bordered the camp, its dark water flowing endlessly into the night. And there, by the riverbank, he saw a figure, an old woman, her back bent to her work, washing clothes in the moonlight. Her name was Ilara. As she worked the fabric against a smooth stone, she was singing a song. It was a quiet, sad song, and as she sang, she was openly weeping. Tears flowed freely down her wrinkled cheeks, mingling with the river's spray. She made no effort to hide them. She simply worked and wept and sang. Kaelan watched her for a long moment, a knot of disdain tightening in his stomach. The sight of her raw, unapologetic sorrow felt like an affront to the control he prized so dearly. He strode forward, his voice hard as iron. "Why do you weep, woman? Tears solve nothing. They are a waste of water." Ilara didn't startle. She slowly looked up, her eyes clear and deep, despite the tears. She saw not the commander, but the man drowning beneath the armor. "I weep because I am sad, Commander. My tears are not a waste, they are a river." Kaelan scoffed, the sound sharp in the night air. "A river is weak. It bends to the will of every rock and twists along the easiest path. A mountain is strong. It stands against the wind and the rain, unmoving. I must be a mountain for my men." Ilara paused her work and shook her head gently. The moonlight caught the silver in her hair. "You are not a mountain, Kaelan. You are a dam. You are holding back an ocean of grief, believing you can contain it forever. And do you know what happens to a dam that never opens its gates? It does not get stronger. The pressure builds and builds, searching for a flaw, a weakness, a crack. And then, when it can hold no more, it does not just leak, it breaks, it shatters. And the flood that follows destroys everything, the dam and the valley it was built to protect. Your grief is not your enemy. Your fear of it is." Kaelan stood silent, the woman's words echoing the turmoil inside him. "A dam. The metaphor was so powerful, so painfully accurate, he could almost feel the cracks forming in his own chest. Elara gestured to the trees along the riverbank. She pointed to a mighty oak, its thick trunk a symbol of rigid strength. Then she pointed to a slender willow, its branches swaying gracefully in the night breeze. The oak tree, she said, refuses to bend in the storm. It believes its stiffness is its power. So when the great winds come, it snaps. Its strength becomes its own undoing. But the willow bends, it weeps, it moves with the wind. It lets the storm pass through it. And when the morning comes, the willow still stands. It survives. It takes no courage to be a stone, Kaelan. Stones feel nothing. It takes the greatest courage to feel everything, to feel pain and let it flow through you, not get stuck inside you. That is not weakness. That is being alive. It was as if a bolt of lightning had struck him. Alive. He looked at the river, forever flowing, forever changing, yet forever the river. He felt the immense, crushing pressure in his chest the dam Elara spoke of. And in that moment, he understood. His strength was not strength at all. It was fear. A profound, terrifying fear of breaking. He saw with blinding clarity that by refusing to grieve, he had not moved past the pain. He had trapped it. He had built a prison of silence and locked himself inside with his sorrow. The stoic commander, the unbreachable fortress, was just a frightened man, terrified of his own heart. His lip trembled. A single hot tear escaped, tracing a path through the grime on his cheek. It felt like a crack in the dam. The next morning, the camp gathered for the funeral pyre. The men expected the same commander, Kaelan, the stone statue. Instead, they saw their leader, his face etched, not with numbness, but with profound sorrow. He stood before them, and as he began to speak of his friend, of their shared laughter, their fears, their bond forged in the crucible of war, his voice broke, and he let it break. He did not hide his face. He allowed himself to cry, openly and without shame, before the men who looked to him for strength. A remarkable thing happened. They did not lose respect for him. They did not see weakness. They saw a man. They saw their own grief reflected in their commander's eyes. And in that shared vulnerability, they found a new, deeper kind of strength. One by one, other soldiers let their own walls crumble. They wept together. They held each other. They mourned as one. Kaelan was no longer a stone statue, isolated and cold. He was a leader of flesh and blood. He was stronger, not because he was unbreakable, but because he had the courage to be whole. The moral of this story is that vulnerability is not weakness. It is the ultimate form of courage. True strength is not found in suppressing our emotions to appear unbreakable, but in allowing ourselves to feel, to grieve, and to heal so we can remain whole.